This is an audio recording of the Calculating Speed guided notes. The first vocabulary word in this slide deck is speed. Speed is a rate of motion. More specifically, speed is the distance traveled per unit time. The units for speed are meters per second. You can write that as m/s, meters per second. Other units for speed include miles per hour and any other distance per unit time. This is the equation for calculating speed. In order to calculate speed, you need the distance traveled and the time it took to travel that distance. You simply divide the distance by the time to obtain your speed. These words are noted with the following variables. Speed is written with a lowercase v, distance is written with a lowercase d, and time is written with a lowercase t. Here is an example problem. A runner makes one lap around a 200-meter track in a time of 25 seconds. What was the runner's average speed? Here are steps to solve the problem. The first is to list what you are given. In this problem, you are provided with some information. The problem tells you the time it took a runner to make one lap around a track. That's 25 seconds. Also, the problem states that the runner ran a total distance of 200 meters. The next step is to list the equation you plan on using. You should plan on using an equation that solves for the variable in question. What was the runner's average speed? Well, to discover that, you'll need the speed equation, specifically with speed on the left side of the equal sign on its own, and distance divided by time on the other side. The next step is to plug in your known variables. We know the distance is 200 meters and the time is 25 seconds. Finally, write down your answer with the appropriate number of significant figures. We don't cover significant figures in this class, but this just shows you how precise our measurements can be. Speed is 200 meters divided by 25 seconds. 200 divided by 25 is 8.0, and here's our units, meters per second. Next example problem. If a car moves with an average speed of 60 kilometers per hour for 1 hour, it will travel a distance of 60 kilometers. How far will it travel if it continues this average rate for 4 hours? First step is to list what you were given. In this problem, it states that the speed of the car is 60 kilometers per hour. It also states in this problem that it is traveling for a total of 4 hours. Don't get this confused for the 1 hour mentioned here, as this part of the sentence is not relevant. So our speed is 60 kilometers per hour. The time is 4 hours. The problem is asking, how far will it travel? We choose to use the speed equation, and we plug in our variables, 60 for speed and 4 hours for time. By multiplying 4 times 60, you get d, distance on its own in the equation, and a total distance of 240 kilometers. Last example problem. The Space Shuttle Endeavour is launched to an altitude of 500 kilometers above the surface of the Earth. The shuttle travels at an average rate of 700 meters per second. How long will it take for Endeavour to reach its orbit? First, we need to list what is given. The problem tells us that the space shuttle traveled 500 kilometers. It also states that the speed at which the shuttle traveled is 700 meters per second. Notice in this problem that the unit for speed, meters per second, does not match the unit for distance, kilometers, so one of these needs to be converted. Let's convert 500 kilometers into meters. For every 1 kilometer, we have 1,000 meters. So if you have 500 kilometers, you have 500,000 meters. The speed is 700 meters per second, and we are determining the time. Using the speed equation, we enter 700 in for speed and 500,000 in for distance. By dividing 500,000 by 700, you obtain a time of 714.3 seconds. How long will it take for Endeavour to reach its orbit? Well, it will take 714.3 seconds to travel 500 kilometers. One more reminder is that you need to perform a unit conversion to solve this problem. Very rarely will you be expected to perform a unit conversion, but it's always good to know how. The last slide on this slide deck features some example problems that you can choose to view as a review. These can also be found in the Master Doc present in Google Classroom.